The words that once brought you to tears now feel like empty lines you recite from memory. You go through the motions. You clap when everyone claps. You sit when everyone sits. But inside, something has gone quiet. What used to be a real connection now feels like a performance. And the scariest part is that you are not sure when it happened. It was not a single moment. It was a slow drift. And now you wonder if something is wrong with you. If God is disappointed. If you will ever feel His presence in worship again. Take a breath. You are not broken. You are not alone. And what you are experiencing is more common than you think. Today, you are going to discover 4 reasons why worship can start to feel fake. And more importantly, how to find your way back to real, honest, life-giving connection with God. Number 1. When you are worshiping with a heart that has something to confess. David knew what this felt like. He was a man who loved God deeply. He wrote most of the Psalms. He danced before the ark of the Lord with all his might. David knew real worship, but then he fell hard. He committed adultery with Bathsheba. He arranged the death of her husband to cover it up. And for an entire year, he pretended everything was fine. He went to the temple. He offered sacrifices. He sang the songs. But inside, his heart was rotting. Later, after the prophet Nathan confronted him, David wrote Psalm 51. And in that psalm, he revealed what blocked his worship. Create in me a clean heart, O God. Renew a right spirit within me. Do not cast me from your presence. Restore to me the joy of your salvation. Notice the word restore. David remembered what real worship felt like. He had experienced the joy of God's presence, but unconfessed sin had stolen it. Not because God left him, but because David had built a wall between them, and he knew that only honest confession would tear it down. You cannot worship freely while hiding something from God. It is not about being perfect. David certainly was not. It is about being honest. When you bring your sin into the light, even with trembling hands, you make room for worship to become real again. Number 2. When worship has become a routine instead of a relationship. In Revelation chapter 3, Jesus spoke to the church in Laodicea, and his words were devastating. He said, "You have a reputation for being alive, but you are dead." They were doing all the right things. Services were happening. Songs were being sung. Offerings were being collected. But Jesus was standing outside the door, knocking. How does that happen? How does a church, or a person, keep doing worship without actually connecting to God? It happens slowly. You wake up on Sunday. You go because it is what you do. You sing because that is the part of the service. You leave unchanged, week after week, month after month. Worship becomes a habit rather than a hunger. You are no longer seeking His face. You are just completing a religious checklist, and checklist worship never moves the heart of God. It does not even move your own. Real worship is not about songs. It is about seeking. Jeremiah chapter 29 verse 13 says, "You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart." Half-hearted worship produces half-hearted connection. The cure is not better music. It is a desperate prayer. God, I do not want to just sing about you. I want to meet with you. That changes everything. Number 3. When your body is present, but your mind is somewhere else. Martha had this problem. In Luke chapter 10, Jesus visited her home, and Martha was busy, preparing food, setting the table, making sure everything was perfect. Her sister Mary sat at the feet of Jesus, just listening. Martha got frustrated. "Lord, tell her to help me," Jesus answered gently. "Martha, you are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed. Only one. Mary has chosen what is better." Martha was physically close to Jesus, but spiritually distracted. And that is exactly what happens in worship, when your mind is racing. You are standing in church, but your brain is at work. You are thinking about the argument you had yesterday, the bills you need to pay, the schedule for next week. Your mouth sings the lyrics, but your heart is miles away. Distraction is one of the greatest enemies of real worship. The enemy does not need to convince you to stop coming to church. He just needs to keep your mind occupied while you are there. Real connection requires focus. Psalm 46 verse 10 says, "Be still, and know that I am God." Before the music starts, take a moment, breathe, quiet your thoughts, hand your worries to God. Tell Him, "I am here to meet with you," not to perform, not to check a box, to connect. Stillness before worship opens the door for presence during worship. Number 4. when you are pretending everything is fine while your heart is breaking. Hannah was in deep pain. She wanted a child, but her womb remained closed year after year. In ancient Israel, this was seen as a curse. And on top of her own grief, her husband's other wife mocked her relentlessly. Hannah was broken. One day at the tabernacle, she went to pray. She was so overwhelmed that she wept before the Lord. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. The priest Eli thought she was drunk, but she was not drunk. She was desperate, and she poured out her soul to God. Hannah did not come with polished worship. She came with raw honesty. She told God exactly what she was feeling, her pain, her disappointment, her longing. And when she finished, she left changed. 1 Samuel chapter 1 verse 18 says, "Her face was no longer downcast. She had connected with God, and peace replaced her despair." Many people think worship means pretending to be happy. It does not. Real worship brings everything to God, including the pain, the tears, the questions, the anger. Psalm 34 verse 18 says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted." He does not require you to clean up your emotions before you approach Him. He meets you in the mess. If your heart is breaking, tell Him. If you are struggling to believe, tell Him. If you feel nothing, tell Him that too. Honest worship is always better than fake worship. God can work with honesty. He cannot work with pretense. Worship that feels fake is not the end of your story. It is an invitation to confess what needs confessing, to turn routine back into relationship, to quiet the noise and focus on His face, to bring your pain honestly before the one who can heal it. You do not need better music or a better church service. You need a heart that is willing to be real with God again. That is where connection begins. Psalm 51 verse 17 says, "The sacrifices of God are a broken spirit. A broken and contrite heart, O God, you will not despise." God does not despise your struggle. He does not reject your honest questions. He does not turn away from your tears. He welcomes them. If this message spoke to you, share it with someone who may be struggling in their worship. Comment below, "God, make my worship real again," and subscribe for more messages that help you grow closer to Him in a real and honest way. The connection you are longing for is not lost forever. It is one honest moment away. Come as you are. He is already waiting.